Today is October 29th, and I'm in Washington, D.C. I'm currently on GWU's campus, and for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be traveling across the Northeast in Boston, Philly, New York, and back here to D.C. to cover the elections. So, if you are interested and you want to follow my journey as I interview at dozens of campuses and hundreds of people, please come be my best friend on this channel. Hello. Harris, very nice. What do you have to say to the people voting for Kamala Harris, or not voting for, or haven't voted yet?
There are a lot of things on the ballot this year that are attached to the candidates you vote for, including the rights of every woman you know and foreign policy. And if we are looking at the foreign policy of one candidate, you may not fully agree with it, but you need to consider that the other candidate does not have coherent policy and make a decision based off of that. And I think it is especially concerning watching the people chosen to surround this person coming out and saying completely unacceptable things about minority populations in this country. And to tolerate that kind of hate from anybody and to put them in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue is unacceptable, and it seems un-American.
Would y'all consider yourselves to be feminists?
I would, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, true. And follow up to that is, who are you voting for, like, in this election?
I'm voting for Kamala Harris.
Yeah, me as well.
Okay, perfect.
Feminism to me means equal opportunity.
Yeah.
So I think that that's a reasonable request.
Yeah, I would agree for sure. I absolutely agree. And who are you voting for in this election?
Kamala Harris.
Okay, true. Do you consider yourself to be a feminist?
Not necessarily.
Okay. Can you tell me, like, why not necessarily?
I don't know. I haven't really looked into it, so I can't really consider myself one. Yeah.
Okay, true. And like follow up to that is, who are you voting for in this election?
I'm not registered to vote.
Okay. Are you a feminist?
Am I a feminist? Yeah. To a degree,
Okay.
I would say.
Yeah.
I feel like I support everything that women do. Mm-hmm. I think there are areas where we could do better as women, but
areas, if you don't mind me asking. It's not even my conversation. I'm just here.
yeah.
Whatever you think.
I think a big area is supporting other women.
Yeah.
I think that is an area that some of us, I don't want to say lack, but can do a better job in like advocating and supporting other women and supporting them in areas where they need support. So
True. Next, like follow up to that is, in who are you voting for in this election?
I honestly haven't voted yet, but I would vote for Kamala.
Okay.
But yeah.
Please expand. What's your hesitancy surrounding voting for Kamala?
Not really like hesitancy per se, because I'm gonna support a black woman and being at that high of a stature.
Yeah.
I think our country's just a mess right now, so it's like hard to really. But obviously, I'm not gonna vote for a felon at the same time. So yeah.
No, for sure. More people had said no to an interview in the 30 minutes I've been doing this than since like the last 2 months, I swear. I don't know, people. Is it me? Am I the problem? That 77% of Democrats support ending weapons aid to Israel. Do you think Kamala Harris should support ending weapons aid to Israel?
I definitely think if 77% of the people voting for her believe that she should be doing this, she, as an elected official, has been chosen to represent that group.
Yeah.
So I think she should be listening to her constituents. I think the most immediate priority needs to be getting humanitarian aid and a ceasefire in Gaza. What is happening there is unacceptable, and it needs to end. I think that needs to be right now that we need that. And then if you're talking about in the future ending weapons aid to Gaza, I think that should be a bigger conversation. Or Israel, sorry, that should be a bigger conversation.
How do you think?
I don't know. It's a tough one because I think the reason they don't is because a lot of liberal Jewish voters support Israel, and they've been a very reliable base for the party. I didn't know that 77%. I didn't know it was that high.
Yeah.
So knowing that, I'd say yes, but I used to think it was 30% maybe.
Right.
So I'd say yes. I think they're going to probably flip after the election if she wins, but it's been a long time. It's been over a year now, so yeah.
Okay, sweet. Give me your best guess. How old do you think Donald Trump was when segregation ended?
Oh man.
He was alive, so there is an age here.
Like 25?
25?
Yeah, maybe 20.
20,
20,
okay.
25.
True. Okay, that would put him at like old, like 95. But he was 8. He was 8.
oops.
So a little younger, but still.
He's looking quite old, I can't lie.
He's aging.
Yeah.
He's not looking.
I'd say he was like 19 when the Civil Rights Act passed, or
Yeah,
so.
he
Would that
was.
be when you consider it to be ended, or?
It kind of is technically up in the air for when it was actually ended. I was going with Brown versus Board, but it kind of is
Oh, okay.
actually relative. But
Oh, when was Brown? I don't know when Brown.
No,
I would say
54.
54. Okay, and I know there were lawsuits in the 70s against him, but against just segregation still.
Right.
So yeah, he was older than me
He was
for a lot of stuff.
He's older. Yeah. He was 8 when Brown versus Board passed,
Okay.
but like 20 when the Civil Rights Act passed,
Okay.
et cetera, or around that age. They just asked me what my name is. First name Black, last name Menace. Yeah. Next question for you. What would it mean to have like the first woman become the president of the United States if she was to win? What would it mean to you, rather?
Definitely just like breaking down a barrier. Like I distinctly remember having a conversation with my dad when I was a kid. And I was like, oh, like wouldn't it be fun if I was the first female president? And he was like, that would be fun, but like, God, I hope you're not. Like I hope that we would have come a little bit further than that. So I just think like it's kicking down a door, you know, like it's,
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Perfect. I love it. We're currently at GW. Can't lie, I haven't been to DC since I was like 12 years old. And so this should be interesting. I don't know what people are going to say. We did 2 interviews so far. They're pretty normal. Pretty normal people. They're not BYU. Anyways, hey, stay tuned. What would it mean to you to have a black woman as president of the United States?
That's a really good question. I think it would mean everything, honestly. I think that having someone that looks like me have a job of that stature means that I could do anything that I put my mind to, for sure.
Do you think that Kamala Harris should support ending the weapons aid to Israel?
I think it's a complicated question. I think she's put a pretty good stance on saying that the war in Gaza needs to end, and I fully support that. I think it's complicated just because of like the economic interdependence that's already existing with Israel right now.
Yeah, she said it.
Okay, true. All right, sweet, thank you.
No, I guess because like both my parents aren't registered to vote, so I just like following in their footsteps.
Right.
But probably next election when I look into it more, because when I want to vote, I want to like know what I'm voting for. So, like,
Right.
yeah.
Donald Trump to be tough on immigration, or for him to just be racist?
I think he's just simply a racist man.
Yeah.
I agree, but I think it can be a mix of both.
Mix of both. Okay. True. How old do you think Donald Trump was when segregation ended?
How old do I think he was
And
when...
he was alive. He was alive.
I want to guess like in his 20s.
Okay.
But I don't really know.
Yeah,
That's a good question.
That's what somebody else guessed. That put him at like 100, but
Yeah.
but he was like 8.
Really?
Yeah, he was 8. And that's when Brown versus Board was passed. So like
Interesting.
actual end of segregation,
Yeah.
probably a little older, right? But
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
Wow.
Young fella.
Very young. fella.
Okay, last question.
Yeah,
How was your
that's
experience being at GW as a black woman?
Honestly, it's been fine. My program right now, I'm in a grad program for occupational therapy, so it's a profession that's not well represented of black women. So that's kind of why I chose to come to GW, to like add to that diversity. But it's been fine. I haven't had no complaints. So
Well, I think the election is important for a couple reasons. Obviously, I don't want Trump to be our president again, and I think it's important to not do that. I also think that a lot of people are having sort of an awakening about how both parties are maybe like slightly more evil than people are accustomed to thinking. And there's a lot of debate about whether when Harris gets in office, whether she will end up pivoting from Biden's policy towards Israel. And I think that a lot of people honestly are curious to see whether she does the morally right, conscientious thing, follows the will of 77% of Democrats who want there to be an arms embargo against Israel. I think it's going to be really a lot of people who are sort of midway through deciding whether they identify as more left than Democrats are kind of waiting to see Kamala Harris become president to determine whether she will respond to the progressive requests of the people or not. And I think that will be, I think there's an opportunity for an interesting awakening for a lot of people coming. But I hope that she wins, because I think she will be way, way better than Trump on pretty much most things.
That Democrats, activists, and whoever should, push for that post the election. Like, how can we ensure that Kamala Harris, elected officials, are going to listen after the election, after they potentially win, if that is the case?
I mean, I think the beauty about a democracy, and particularly our democracy, is that every 2 years you get to vote for your congressman, and you can choose, you have primaries, and you can choose candidates in that who support your values on greater issues, and you have the ability to hold candidates accountable. You can say, they don't have my vote next time, if they decide not to listen.
Okay, sweet. It's free Valentine. Oh my. Response to this, to like the proposition that instead of banning abortion, every man should get a vasectomy.
I don't know, so I don't really want to say anything without doing my research too much.
Just the overall idea. It's not necessarily a specific policy by anybody, but like, how would you react to that if that was presented?
So every man had to get a vasectomy instead of an abortion?
Instead of banning abortion nationwide.
So would we have a choice or not?
You wouldn't have a choice. It would just be.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't think that's okay. Just as I don't think banning abortions is okay.
Yeah, sure. Mean to you to have like the first woman elected president of the United States?
I think it would mean a lot, because I think America has lagged behind other, comparable countries for a while.
Yeah.
I think, if you look at Mexico, just elected their first female president, so I think it'd be a good sign, and it'd be a good thing.
Okay, amazing.
Think she should support it?
Support ending weapons aid to Israel, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Why do you think?
Because all weapons should be ended.
Okay.
We could learn to live together.
Yeah.
That's the best thing. Forget race, forget culture, just people. You and I, we're just being people, loving people.
Okay.
That means more to me than anything.
Okay, true.
And to me, I'm not seeing race. I don't see culture.
Yeah.
We experience culture. We're born the way we are. Other than that, everything's the same. You bleed the same I bleed. We breathe the same air. The same stuff that God made is still the same things. So I believe that if we can live in unity, that's great.
Absolutely. Do you think that Kamala Harris should support ending weapons aid to Israel?
So, truthfully, I have a lot more homework to do myself on this topic. I think that the conflict in Israel, it's definitely not obviously not a good thing as far as civilian casualties and stuff like that on both sides. I definitely think that there should be more of, I guess it should be looked at closer, or reconsidered as far as the distribution of weapons that and the supplying of weapons from America. But again, that's just something that I need to do more homework on myself.
Sweet. Okay, appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah. That's it. Thank you. Hello. I just finished questions at GWU. You? Question mark? Anyways, just finished questions at GW. They were pretty good. You'll see the content. Pretty fire. Where is the camera going? In the world?